Git ships with over 150 commands. You will never use most of them, and you do not need to. Working developers get through an entire career on about 20, and honestly, on a normal day, more like 6. The rest are edge cases you can look up the 2 times a year you need them. So instead of another giant reference dump that you will forget by tomorrow, this is the short list, the Git commands you actually use, each one with the real scenario where you reach for it. We will start with the daily 6, git status, git add, git commit, git push, git pull, and git log with git diff, that is the loop you run every single day. Then the branching set, branch, switch, checkout, and merge. Then the one that confuses everyone, rebase versus merge, including the one warning that keeps you out of real trouble. Then git stash, for when you need to drop everything and switch tasks without losing your work. And finally, aliases, how to turn these commands into 2 or 3 keystrokes so you stop typing the same thing all day long. By the end you will have a cheat sheet you can actually memorize, because it is short on purpose. Let us get into it. Start with the 6 you run all day, in the order you actually use them. Git status tells you what changed and what is staged, run it constantly, it is your compass, and it even suggests the command you probably want next. Git add stages a file for the next commit, git add, then a file name, for one file, git add. To stage everything, or git add-p to go hunk by hunk and pick exactly which chunks of a file to include. That is great when one file has 2 unrelated changes and you only want to commit one of them. Git commit-m, with a message in quotes, records everything you staged as a new snapshot, leave off -m and Git opens an editor for a longer message. Git push sends your commits up to the remote, like origin, so your teammates can see them. The first push of a new branch usually wants git push-u origin, then the branch name, to link them. Git pull brings their work down, and this is important. Git pull is not just a download, it is fetch plus merge. It fetches the new commits and then merges them into your current branch, which can create a merge commit. If you would rather keep history linear, use git pull --rebase. And to see what is going on, git log --oneline graph gives you a compact, visual history. Git diff shows your unstaged changes, and git diff --staged shows what you have staged but not yet committed. Status, add, commit, push, pull, log and diff, that is the whole daily loop, and most days you never leave it. Next, branching, how you work on something without touching the main line, so main always stays stable and shippable. Git branch with no arguments just lists your branches and marks the one you are on with a star. Git branch, then a name, creates a new branch but does not move you onto it. To actually change branches, modern Git gives you git switch, then the branch name. You may also see git checkout, then the name, that is the older command that does the exact same switch. Checkout still works everywhere, but it is overloaded. It also restores files and does other jobs, which is why newer Git split the work out into git switch just for branches and git restore just for files, clearer, and harder to misfire. To create a branch and jump onto it in one step, use git switch-c, then the name, or the older equivalent, git checkout-b, then the name. Do your work there, commit as normal, and when the feature is ready, you bring it back. Switch to the branch you want to merge into, usually main, and run git merge, then the name of your feature branch. That pulls your features commits into main. When you are done with the feature branch, git branch-d, then the name, deletes it. So, branch to list or create, switch or checkout to move, switch-c to create and move, merge to bring the work together, and -d to clean up after. Now the one that trips people up, rebase versus merge. Both combine work from 2 branches, but they do it in opposite ways, and picking the wrong one on a shared branch causes real headaches. When you run git merge, Git keeps both histories exactly as they happened and, if the branches diverged, ties them together with a single new merge commit. Nothing gets rewritten, your history is a true, if slightly messy, record of what actually occurred and when. Git rebase is different. Git rebase main takes your branches commits, lifts them off, and replays them one by one on top of the latest main. The result is a clean, straight line, as if you had started your work from the current main all along, no merge commit, easy to read. But here is the catch, and it really matters: rebase does not move your commits, it recreates them. Each replayed commit gets a brand new hash, even though the changes look the same. That is completely fine for commits that only live on your own machine. It is dangerous for commits you have already pushed and shared, because everyone else still has the originals, and now your history and theirs disagree, which leads to duplicated commits and painful conflicts. So the golden rule is simple, and it is the one thing to remember from this whole chapter: never rebase commits that other people already have. Rebase your own local, unpushed work to tidy it up before you share it, merge when the branch is already public. And for a clean everyday pull without noisy merge commits, git pull -- rebase gives you the tidy version of the daily pull. Here is a scenario every developer hits. You are halfway through something, your files are a mess of half-finished edits, and suddenly you need to switch branches, a bug on main, a teammate needs a quick review right now. You do not want to commit this unfinished, broken work just to get it out of the way. That is exactly what git stash is for. Run git stash and git takes all your uncommitted changes, both staged and unstaged, shelves them away, and gives you back a clean working tree, exactly matching your last commit. Now you can switch branches, fix the bug, do whatever you need, with nothing in your way. When you come back, run git stash pop, that reapplies your shelved changes on top of wherever you are now and removes them from the stash in one move. If you want to keep the stash around after applying it, use git stash apply instead of pop, and drop it later with git stash drop. You can also give a stash a name with git stash push -m and a message, so future you knows what it was. And because you can stash more than once, git stash list shows every entry, most recent first. Think of it as a clipboard for work in progress, git stash to set aside, git stash pop to bring it back. It is the clean way to context switch without a throwaway commit cluttering up your history. Last piece, and it is the one that actually saves your fingers: aliases. You type git status, git checkout, git branch dozens of times a day, so shorten them once and stop typing them out. Git lets you define an alias with git config -- global, alias dot, then the short name, then the real command. For example, git config -- global alias -t status makes gitst run git status. The -- global part means it is saved in your global git config, a file called .gitconfig in your home folder, so it works forever, in every repo on your machine, not just this one. A few that almost everyone sets up: st for status, co for checkout, br for branch, and a longer one, lg, map to log -- oneline -- graph, so a single git lg draws that pretty history graph you would otherwise have to type out in full every time. You can alias anything, even chain multiple flags into one short word, and you can open the config file directly to edit them all at once. The point is not to memorize my aliases, it is to notice which commands you type over and over, and spend 30 seconds turning each one into 2 or 3 letters. Small change, but you run these hundreds of times a week, and the savings add up fast. So there it is, the 20 git commands that carry an entire career, in one frame. The daily 6 you run without even thinking: status, add, commit, push, pull, and log with diff. The branching set, branch, switch or checkout, switch -c to create and move, and merge to bring it back. The mental model that keeps you safe: merge preserves history, rebase rewrites it into a clean line, so never rebase what you have already shared. Git stash to shelve work in progress and switch context with a clean tree, then stash pop to pick it right back up. And aliases to turn all of it into a few keystrokes you will actually remember. You do not need the other 130 commands to be genuinely good with Git, you need these, used with confidence, and the confidence comes from using them, not from reading about them. I put a free Git cheat sheet with every one of these commands on it, plus a step-by-step guide on how to undo a Git commit, in the description. Grab it and keep it next to your keyboard. If you want to go deeper, there is an optional Git and GitHub mastery pack linked there too. Subscribe for more, and next time you sit down to code, you will not be guessing at Git, you will just know the command.